one of the things that everybody seems to be talking about and all over is what an expansion fee is going to cost. And a lot of rumors are that that number could be like 5 billion or 6 billion. I just want to understand where your head's at with that number. If the Celtics just sold for 6.1 or 7.2, and that is, to you the third or fourth highest valuation that you can have for a team in the NBA, how can they use that as the baseline for an expansion fee for a team that isn't as established as the Celtics are, or the Lakers are, or the Warriors are, or what the Knicks would be?
Yeah, it's certainly Coca. You're right, and we touched on it yesterday on the Dominique Foxworth show, and I got a bet going that I want to tell you about because he agrees with you that the expansion fees are just going to be huge now because of these transactions, and I just don't see it that way. And I don't know how you find a person to spend over $3 billion just to have the right to sit at a table. And the argument is, well, you're now getting 1/32 of a huge TV deal. That's true, but let's even say that's 250 million bucks a year. You have to start a franchise. Expansion means it's way harder than relocating a franchise because you end up having to build the entire infrastructure. Think about the number of employees that you need to hire. Think about the things that you need to do whenever you start something, even logo development, just things that you wouldn't think of, thinking of a name, which you may think is cheap and means nothing. Everything costs money. And what's the universe of people where they would write a $3 billion check or a $5 billion check just to say hello when expansion fees, they've been, some would say, we talked about it earlier, John Fisher only paid 20 million, but they're for MLS, but there's some people who've paid 500 million. It's gotten close to $1 billion, but to skip and go all the way to 5 billion. So you'd be raising money to pay the expansion fee. Then you'd need a whole other bunch of money. And here's the problem. The expansion cities are not what you described, LA, Chicago, New York. A team in Seattle is not worth $5 billion, no matter how you slice it. So therefore, an expansion fee cannot be even close to what the total team value is because no one would do that deal. So, Coco, we'll find out, but I would take the under, though I don't think you and I are getting an expansion team, but I would take the under on 5 billion. I took the under on 3 billion.
What are the additional costs that go into it? So let's say, Charlotte. Charlotte gets an expansion team and they have to pay,
Don't they have
4
a
or
team?
5. Oh, sorry, not Charlotte. Why did I say Charlotte? We'll stick with Seattle. We'll stick with Seattle.
Say Vegas. How about
All right,
Vegas?
Las Vegas. Las
LeBron
Vegas
and
gets an
Shaq are
expansion
trying to
team.
go to Vegas.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say Las Vegas because they have arenas and everything built there. I don't know why I said Charlotte. But they have arenas and everything that are already built there, so they don't have to pay that cost to build an arena if it's already there. If it's somewhere else that doesn't, so Nashville, we'll use Nashville. If Nashville gets an expansion team, and they have to build an arena, does that go into the expansion fee cost, or is that not part of it at all?
Yeah, you have to consider that. And these places where you're talking about, Seattle, they have an arena ready to go for hockey. Could it be ready for basketball as well? They're saying yes. The Nashville Predators, aren't they still an NHL team? And so there you could certainly share that arena. But we know from Miami, when two owners couldn't get together to share an arena, guess what they did? They built separate arenas. The Clippers and Lakers couldn't share, so Ballmer said, I want my own. Wayne Huizenga and Mickey Arison in Miami couldn't share, so they built Amarant Arena, which just hoisted the cup for the second time a couple days ago out in Sunrise. So I don't think that these owners of a new expansion team would want to share any arena with anybody, because the thing is, when you're doing your projections, in order to excuse such high prices for a franchise, you actually need to figure out how to get the concomitant revenue. And to do that, you don't want to be a tenant. You want to be the landlord. It's always better to own. You want to be able to exploit every possible inch of that place. And so when you are building an expansion organization, you absolutely have to figure out how much money is coming in from the public for an arena.